Welcome to the deep dive. Ready to go deep on DeepSeek.
Always.
This Chinese AI company, it's making some serious waves, right?
Yeah, stirring things up for sure.
We've been digging through a ton of stuff, articles from the New York Times, The Guardian, even Nature.
Oh, and that World Economic Forum report, right?
Exactly. Plus some thought-provoking blog post. One even called this DeepSeek thing a Sputnik moment.
Interesting comparison.
So much to unpack here, where they came from, the tech they're building.
And what it all means for the future of AI, too.
Absolutely. It's kind of wild. 1 minute, they're this hedge fund kind of under the radar.
Right.
Then, damn, their AI blows up, tops the download charts, even beats ChatGPT.
It is a pretty meteoric rise.
So, gotta ask, where did DeepSeek even come from?
Their story, it's not your typical Silicon Valley tale, that's for sure.
Our sources, they paint a pretty unique picture.
Definitely. They actually spun off from a Chinese hedge fund, HighFlyer.
HighFlyer.
Yeah, and get this, they've been using AI for trading since, 2016?
Wow, that's way ahead of the curve.
No kidding. So DeepSeek, they had this built-in AI advantage from day one.
Fascinating. And their founder, Liang Wenfeng, sounds like a real visionary.
Oh, yeah. He saw the potential of AI early on, that's for sure.
What's crazy is he started stockpiling all those NVIDIA GPUs back in 2021.
Almost like he knew the U.S. would slap sanctions on those chips later on.
Talk about foresight, right?
Like he was already thinking 10 steps ahead.
And here's another thing that's different. They haven't gone the traditional VC route.
True. They've stayed lean, very research-focused.
Controlling their own destiny, so to speak.
Exactly, and it seems to be working for them.
No doubt. They're playing the long game, and it's paying off big time in terms of, real innovation.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got their backstory, but what's really got the world buzzing is their tech. Right?
Their AI model, DeepSeek R1, it's a game changer.
It's going toe-to-toe with OpenAI's GPT-4, but here's the kicker.
They built it for a fraction of the cost.
It's mind-blowing, really.
GPT-4 estimates are around $100 million to train, something like that.
Yeah, crazy expensive.
DeepSeek, they did it for, get this, about $6 million.
It's David versus Goliath, and David's got the upper hand.
Makes you wonder, how did they pull that off?
Right. What's their secret sauce?
Well, it's a combo of things. Their approach to software and hardware, it's unique.
They're not just throwing money at the problem, they're being strategic clever.
Exactly.
So spill the beans. How are they being so efficient?
One big thing is minimizing what's called communication latency.
Latency.
Yeah, so when you're training a massive AI model like this,
You're talking about a ton of data.
mountains of it, and it all has to be processed, shared across a whole network of computers.
Gotcha.
That communication between those computers, that's where things can get bogged down.
Like a traffic jam for data.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And DeepSeek, they've found some really ingenious ways to clear those jams.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, so they literally rearrange they call them experts on their machines every 10 minutes.
What, like physically moving servers around?
Yeah, it's like musical chairs for AI.
That's wild.
But it keeps that data flowing smoothly, no expensive delays.
Fascinating.
They've also got this algorithm, dual pipe, lets the model compute and communicate at the same time.
Wait, so it's not just about raw processing power, it's about how that information moves around.
You got it.
Yeah.
It's like building a superhighway for data, two-way traffic, everything's zipping along.
Okay, that makes it much clearer.
Another trick up their sleeve, mixed precision arithmetic.
Sounds complicated.
Basically, they use smaller numbers in the calculations, 8-bit, 12-bit, instead of the usual 32-bit.
So like finding shortcuts in the code itself.
Exactly, streamlining the math without losing accuracy.
Clever.
And then there's multi-head latent attention, MLA.
Okay, you lost me again.
It's a more efficient way to process info within the model. Think of it like that.
So they're thinking smarter, not just harder, right?
Absolutely.
It's incredible they've achieved this level of performance with way less money than their competitors.
It really challenges the idea that you need massive funding to be a player in AI.
DeepSeek's proving that ingenuity, efficiency, those can be just as powerful.
For sure.
They're changing the rules of the game. And speaking of changing rules, there's another thing about DeepSeek.
Their commitment to open source.
You read my mind.
That's where things get even more interesting.
All right, let's take a quick breather. When we come back, we'll dive into that whole open source thing and see how DeepSeek is shaking up the AI landscape. Don't go anywhere. We're back, still diving deep into the world of DeepSeek, this Chinese AI company that's really shaken things up.
We've seen how they got here. from hedge fund beginnings to, well, kind of a global AI sensation.
And all while being super efficient resource-wise, which is impressive.
Yeah, but now we got to talk about what might be their most disruptive move yet.
You're talking open source, right?
Exactly. Open weight, to be precise.
No. Meaning anyone can just grab their algorithms, tinker with them, build on them, like totally free.
It's wild, right? A complete 180 from how companies like, say, OpenAI or Google usually operate.
They keep their stuff locked down tight.
Totally. But DeepSeek, it's like they've swung open the doors to their AI lab and said, come on in, everyone's welcome.
It's a huge shift in thinking from secrecy and competition to, like, this radical openness. What could this mean for AI, though?
Well, for one, it could make cutting-edge AI accessible to, well, pretty much anyone. Researchers, developers, no matter where they are, what resources they have.
It's like leveling the playing field.
Right. Imagine what that could unlock in fields like, I don't know, medicine, education, anything, really.
It's like they're saying, the future of AI, it shouldn't belong to just a few big players. It's for everyone.
Exactly. And there's this growing feeling that this openness, it might actually lead to more trustworthy AI, too.
Trustworthy, how so?
When you can see under the hood, right, you can actually examine the code, the logic, everything's out in the open.
So transparency equals trust.
Kind of. It's like the difference between, I don't know, a secret recipe and one that's shared online, right? You know what's in it, how it's made. You're more likely to trust the final product.
That's a good way to put it.
And that theme of transparency and trust, it pops up a lot in the stuff we've read, especially that World Economic Forum report. They say the more people understand AI, the more likely they are to, get on board with it, help shape its development in a positive way.
But let's be real, there's got to be some worries about this whole open source thing, right?
Of course, it's not all sunshine and roses.
Like, what's to stop someone from taking this tech and using it for bad stuff? It seems like a fair question.
Totally fair. And it's a debate that's raging right now in tech circles, in governments, everywhere.
There are definitely two sides to this coin.
Yeah, you have the potential for amazing breakthroughs, stuff that could benefit all of humanity.
But also the risk of misuse, things going wrong in ways we can't even predict yet.
It's a tightrope walk, finding that balance between, pushing the boundaries of what's possible while also making sure AI is used responsibly.
That's going to be a tough one to figure out.
No doubt.
And then there's the geopolitical angle to all of this. DeepSeek's success, it's kind of seen as a direct challenge to the U.S., their dominance in the AI world.
It's a sign that things are shifting globally, that China's a major force in this tech revolution, whether people like it or not.
It's interesting. DeepSeek's also raised questions about those U.S. export controls on chips, the ones meant to slow China's AI development down.
Yeah, but it seems like those restrictions might have actually had the opposite effect.
Like they forced DeepSeek to get creative, to find workarounds, leading to innovations that might not have happened otherwise.
It's the classic necessity is the mother of invention scenario.
Yeah.
And it kind of ties into that whole Sputnik moment analogy that some people are using to describe DeepSeek's impact.
Right. That blog post we talked about earlier. What was the gist of it again?
Basically, the author argues that DeepSeek, it's like a wake-up call for the West. Similar to, when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik back in the day.
That kicked off a huge space race, right?
Exactly. And DeepSeek, it's kind of doing the same thing for AI, forcing everyone else to step up their game.
So they're shaking things up, making the old guard a little nervous, maybe.
You could say that.
It's definitely a fascinating time to be alive, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. We're seeing a tech revolution unfold right before our eyes. Something that could reshape our world in ways we can't even imagine yet.
It's not just about the tech itself, though, right?
Right. It's about the values driving its development. Will it be all about profits, or will we prioritize things like human well-being, the common good? Those are the big questions.
And questions that are even more relevant when we think about all the controversies swirling around DeepSeek. We've touched on some of it, but I think it's worth diving in a bit deeper. When we come back, we'll tackle those concerns head-on and explore what DeepSeek's rise could mean for the future of AI for all of us. Stay tuned. And we're back one last time, wrapping up our deep dive into DeepSeek, this Chinese AI company that's, kind of turning the AI world upside down.
We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we?
We have. Their unusual backstory, their innovative tech, the whole open source thing, and of course all the controversy that comes with it.
Lots of potential benefits, but some real concerns too.
It's complicated stuff, and we've only just scratched the surface, really.
True, but I think it's time to shift gears a bit.
You're right. Up until now, we've been focused on DeepSeek itself, the company, the tech. But what does all of this mean for, the average person?
What about you listening right now? What parts of this deep dive really stuck with you?
Yeah, what resonated? What questions popped into your head as we were talking about all this?
Like we said earlier, DeepSeek's really shaking things up, challenging the way AI has always been done.
Making these powerful tools more accessible, more democratic in a way.
It's an exciting time to be following this field, that's for sure. The barriers to entry, they're getting lower, and it feels like new possibilities are popping up all the time.
It's easy to get lost in the big picture stuff, the geopolitics, the philosophical debates, all that.
Right, but at the end of the day, technology, it affects us all on a personal level.
It changes how we live, how we work, how we create. So I'm curious, how might DeepSeek's story, their whole approach to AI, how could that inspire you?
Think about it. Entrepreneurs in, say, developing countries using DeepSeek's open source models to solve problems specific to their communities.
That's a great point.
Or students anywhere in the world having access to cutting-edge AI learning tools. Artists collaborating with these models to create art we can't even imagine yet.
It's almost like DeepSeek's giving us this toolkit and saying, go out there and build something amazing.
Exactly. It's that sense of possibility, of empowerment. That's what I find so compelling about their story.
But of course, like we've discussed, this kind of accessibility, this potential, it comes with a lot of responsibility too.
Absolutely.
It's not just about what we create with AI, but how we do it.
Making sure these powerful tools are used ethically, responsibly, with everyone's best interests in mind.
And that's where you come in, our listener. You're not just a bystander in all of this. You're an active participant.
Your voice matters. Your choices matter.
The future of AI, it's not just being decided by companies and governments. It's being shaped by all of us.
So stay curious, stay informed, stay engaged.
And never be afraid to ask those tough questions.
DeepSeek story. It's just one chapter in the ongoing story of AI.
It's a powerful reminder that innovation can come from unexpected places, that limitations can sometimes spark the greatest creativity.
And that the future, well, it's not something that just happens to us. It's something we create together.
That's what the deep dive is all about. Exploring these complex, fascinating topics, sparking your curiosity, helping you understand the world around you a little bit better.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of DeepSeek.
We hope you found it insightful, thought-provoking, and maybe even a little inspiring. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.